G'day friends, welcome to day 25 of MERMAY 2018. I have a very mixed media piece for you today. We're going to cut out this illustration and then place it over a collaged background and then just add some fun little washes and details. The illustration itself is from a photocopy that I did years ago. It's actually, it was like way back, and I'd reworked it with those red lines over the top to make it one of the die cuts that you got in the Merfolk Fragments pack. So if you have the Fragments pack, you have this illustration in there. It's a smaller version because we couldn't do die cuts this big just yet. I'm still working on that, but yeah. So this is one of those illustrations. I've been, let's be real, hoarding all of these original kind of concept sketches and you know, templates and all this kind of stuff that when I'm doing this product designing, I kind of archive it because I think, do you like how I've used archive instead of hoarding? You know, I have, look, it's not hoarding if it ends up in a journal. So today I have just gone into the archives and I've pulled out this piece and thought, yes, we could do something with this. And I've decided that, much like my Gran's colouring in pages, that it's better not to have them loose leaf and just flying around the studio and, you know, jumping from folder to folder. It's much better to not have them loose like that, but to actually get them into finished pieces, to get them into work, to, you know, have all of these sentimental bits and pieces that fly around, to give them homes because they're worth something to my memories. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to endeavour to be less precious about these types of things, much like I've been with Gran's colouring book pages. So this is why I'm cutting this out today and why I'm feeling good about it, I guess. I'm also using the background is going to be collaged together from a mix of pages from my most recent book. Please don't stress, these are not new books, these are not fresh books. These are books from like the preliminary run when they were full of typos that I didn't catch. These are books that also had registration errors and printing errors and you know, bookbinding errors. They were just spares, let's call them that. So I've just ripped out pages that I can use for collaging, and I really, really love it. The thing I love about it as well, you can totally photocopy the pages of your book. I'm talking about mine specifically. I actually found out that a lot of people have a problem with that, but I'm going to let you, give you permission, please photocopy the pages in it and work them into your journal. I do not mind. So I'm only speaking from my book in general. Please ask the respective artists if you're allowed to photocopy their work. I know that can be a huge problem for some people. So I'm going to give you permission to do that with mine. If you want to literally use the same pages I did today, they're all from my second book. And yeah, we're just going to collage them up. The reason I like pulling them out of the book, which is, you know, it seems very wasteful, but my printer, if I use the matte medium all over the printer ink, it's not sealed, like it's not a dry ink, it is reactive, so the matte medium would pull out all of the ink again. I could seriously wait for it to dry for like days and days and days, but this is MERMAY, so we don't have time. But I could, I guess, use a sealer on it as well, but I didn't need the extra step, let's just be honest. I had all these spare pages, so I just used those. And they retain, you know, their crisp image and beautiful vibrant colors, which I kind of mute down anyway at the end. But yeah, so I'm going to use these because I have these. I'm also still doing the spring cleaning studio garage sale. Is that what I called it? I don't know what I called it yet. But I'm still packing all the little Lucky Dip envelopes, the orange grab bag type situations, and I've got pages from my book that I'm just going to slot into a few of those as well. I have to call it a Lucky Dip because not every single packet is going to be the same. So it's going to be a little hit and miss, but they will all generally be the same. So I'm not going to fill one with, like, you know, millions of good things and then give the other one just 2 bits of scrap paper. You know what I mean? Like, I'll try and balance it out as much as I can, but let's be real, it's a quote-unquote spring cleaning garage sale, so I'll let the Lucky Dip be the deciding factor in whether you get in on that or not. But I'll give you a bit of a preview of what I end up doing and what a typical packet might look like. I don't know, I'll show you. But there is an extra printables and stuff that I've decided to include just to make it, just to make sure that there was something that tied every single one of them together. But like I said, we'll look at that when we look at that. So yeah, today I'm going to collage all of this down. I'm going to glue my little paper cut over the top. I love paper crafting as well. That's why I could never just call myself one thing. I couldn't just be James Luke Burke painting, James Luke Burke watercolors. It had to be creative. It had to be everything so that on, days like today when I really wanted to just go all in, that I felt the freedom to do that. So I really like it. If you want to give a go, if you want to give this piece a go, please do. Please be my guest. I've seen some incredible work being shared all over social media, people that have been pulling inspiration from unlikely places, and it is just so rewarding to see. What I love more than anything is I'm seeing not only great work, but I'm seeing confidence, and that is that just makes me feel like I'm here for a reason, and that I'm really doing a good job with the mission that I set out to do, because I want you to have that confidence. I want you to know the joy of creating confidently. I want you to feel what it's like to be on such a roll that you're just giving everything a go that you would never have tried before. So I'm really, really appreciative of that, and thank you so much for being so gracious and brave and courageous to share, because I know, the world just gets crazier, so I don't want to take away from the fact that I know that it probably took a lot of guts for some of you to get some of those photos out there. So I am really appreciative, and I want to say thank you for that. Let's talk about something. I guess if we're talking about the changing world and being brave on social media, let's segue into something. Now, I want to just state that today, like always, is open for discussion. Please be respectful in the comments. I'm not going to turn the comments off. I'm not going to moderate anything. We're all grown folk here. And what I love most about this community that I'm a part of is that there's an open line of communication. We all do have enough respect for each other to voice opinions, to not get into serious fights. To my knowledge, I haven't seen one of these, crazy, hateful, hurtful comments come about on my social media platforms, perhaps behind my back, but as long as they stay behind my back, I don't really mind. But yeah, so I just want to say thank you for first of all being a part of that. That culture doesn't just happen. You guys are the reason that happens. So I want to say thank you for being grown folk and for being respectful in that way. Today we are going to have a conversation about something that that might cause you to get involved in a conversation, that might encourage you or kind of fire you up to get involved. I want to have a look at both sides of something today. I want to give you a full 360 perspective on something that could typically be taken the wrong way, and yeah, typically, yes, I would say that. So yesterday there was a comment I left on my video and about sharing on Insta stories, and how if you overshare too much, it becomes a little annoying, and that it displays a sense of narcissism. So let me just say first off, I'm okay with comments like this. I don't have a problem. I'm not going to delete that. Typically I will only start moderating comments if they pull someone else's name in a terrible way, or something that is like death threats. Like, we can't have any of that. But for the most part, if people want to have a voice, if people want to use their voice, we live in a world of free speech in this Western world that I think most of us are a part of, and I'm not going to take away your right to do that. What I feel like most people in this world tend to start acting out over is the sense of not being heard, not being appreciated, and not feeling validated. So what I want to do today is make sure that I don't become cause for concern for anybody. I want to say that comment that was left by someone that wanted to have their opinion heard, that wanted to voice a concern or a feeling or an opinion or an emotion, and that is completely fine. We live in a world where that should be allowed to happen, and we should feel free to do that. And that's why I want to say thank you again for being a part of a community where people feel encouraged to share. Now, the first, we'll start with a bit of a negative look on it, and then we'll put a positive look on it. The first thing I want to say is you just have to be careful, because social media is a place where we all kind of exist, and, comments are generally more of a reflection of the people leaving them than they are on the people receiving them. So I just want to make sure that if you are someone out there that feels compelled to leave comments, probably try your best to find words that are less inflammatory. a word like narcissism doesn't really evoke any kind of good feelings. So whether the comment itself took a positive tone or a negative tone, or whether the intention was good or bad, either way, people are going to see the word narcissism and have an issue with it. So my first encouragement would be to possibly find an alternative word for things like that, or if you are going to use an inflammatory word, you may be someone that's okay with a little bit of backlash, or you may be seeking out to start a confrontation. I would recommend just going straight to the source. I know a lot of us are contactable and reachable through, email or through private messages or direct messages on Instagram, Facebook messages, if you can find us there. A lot of us would prefer to see inflammatory words in those settings, those private settings, than somewhere public. Mostly because it protects you. I mean, I'm someone with thick skin, I don't let that bother me, but there are other people out there that would find that very disturbing. But there are also a lot of commenters out there that are just waiting to pounce on a comment like that. So I want to protect you in that sense, that if you need to be heard, perhaps go to the source, and then if you need to be publicly heard because you're not being heard, then I might start leaving a public comment. But let me just say, it could be inflammatory, it could be, it could come with the worst of intention, but that's not really what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is that, me as a human, I did read that, and my defenses got up. I saw red, me as James, not as, business person James, not as me trying to figure out my marketing campaign James, not as James, the mixed media artist, or James the dancer, or any other hat that I might wear. Me as a human being, someone that is very confrontational, someone that has a big mouth on them, that loves to chat and argue, I might add. Like, I don't shy away from an argument. Someone who does that, my defenses get up. I see red immediately. And I'd like to say that I am growing in this sense, that through this business and through this journey that I've had over the past year, I've really had to stop at every point where I've been challenged like this and consider both sides, which is something I was, let's just say, privileged enough to never really have to do before. It would be nice if I had learned that sooner. I definitely knew that that's probably something I should have done, but I was never kind of forced to do it. But now I know that if I want to keep this brand, if I want to, stay true to my mission statement, I really do have to consider both sides, and I have to approach it that way. But it has made me so much happier with receiving comments like this. It's made me so much less feisty about it, less aggressive, I would say. My temptation to lash out is still there. I'm not going to lie. There's still a part of me that is human, that sees red, that sees an inflammatory word and says fight. Like, I don't know what that is. I don't know how that goes away, or if there's something you can do about it. But I think the most positive and constructive thing that I'm called to do is to look at both sides, and to notice that that is a person that just wants their opinion heard. And when I stop to think about that, it was really, really interesting, because I agreed. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm reading this comment, and I was like, have I ever been in this place before where all I wanted to do was tell a creator, stop doing that? And I thought, yes, 100%, I have. And so my perspective started shifting, and I started thinking, there is validity to this comment. There is someone here that is seeing something that they've got an issue with, and they just want me to know about it. So I'm listening to it, I'm looking at it, and what I'm kind of feeling out is that yes, there's truth to that. If you're oversharing on Insta stories, if your Insta stories are bigging up this grandiose idea of yourself, then that is narcissistic. If your inflated ego is the reason you're posting this stuff, if your Insta stories are all about wealth and privilege and money and these, if you've not got clothes on in every Insta story, there is narcissism there. That's a sense of ego. I find oftentimes it comes from a sense of pain. I think its roots are rooted in something a bit more difficult to try and understand, and there's a lot of there's a lot of insecurity there, which prompts people to do things that would make them feel powerful, make them feel very in control, very put together in their friends' eyes. But you've got to remember, like, social media is, people use it for a ton of different things, and we'll get to that in a second. But I found myself agreeing. I did think, yes, 100%. There have been times before where all I did see was a sense of self, and that kind of hurt my feelings to think that maybe my Insta story was going that way. But I had to agree. I thought, you know what? I could understand where this comes from. I know that wasn't my intention. I know that wasn't my truth. But I can't deny that some people would see that. And what angle are they looking at it to see that from. And, I'm just thinking, yesterday we went into Disneyland and I shared a bunch of stories and what could you pull from that was negative? And I thought, well, Disneyland is an expensive place to go. I go there quite often. Now, whether it's something that I could afford or whether it's just, a privilege that I have, that could be misconstrued by a lot of people to thinking that I'm always there. I'll tell you this much, I do not have an annual pass. I don't go as often as I think most Southern Californians do, but I can't deny that there are people out there that don't have that same opportunity and would see that as bragging. So to be honest, I'm going to have to work on how I present the stories if I don't want that to come across, but it's also not my intention to really take that stuff to heart. I can appreciate it. I can appreciate that totally. I would love to just clear up my intention if any of that has gone awry. My intention with Insta stories, and this is where I hopefully want to put the positive spin, my intention is to share with people parts of my life. You've got to understand that Instagram for me is a business tool. It's a marketing tool. It's invaluable for the growth of my brand, but I also have friends all over the world. I used to work on cruise ships and I used to work in theme parks in Tokyo. Like, I've got friends from the UK, from Canada, from the States, from Australia, from, Japan. I've got them from everywhere. And it's such a blessing to have that, but at the same time, it's so hard to keep in touch. And social media for me, I used to do that on Facebook. I used to keep in touch with everyone. And, the busier I got, the less I could keep in touch. Now I'm at a point where my life is pretty much just working. Which thankfully for me is enjoyable, but I don't have time to keep in touch. Instagram is a way for me to also let my family and friends know where I'm at in my career and what I'm doing, what I'm up to, what I'm enjoying. I do have a personal account that I used to post a lot on, but I started neglecting that because it's, I spend so much time on my business and devoting so much energy here that, it just became a bit much to have both. So I definitely just let that go and kind of only focused on my business. So now my friends and family kind of know where to catch me here. And I find that my personal life is a big part of my brand. I mean, at the end of the day, James Luke Burke Creative has my name in it. So if you're going to buy into the brand, you want to make sure that the person that you're buying into is decent, I guess, or on brand for your style, for your story and for your life. But I'll agree that, I'm not going to be a character in everyone's story. When you're all writing your own stories in life, and you don't have to fit me into your chapter 27 if I don't fit there. If I'm not supposed to come in until later, or if I've already been in your story and you're on 3 chapters ahead, then you can leave me in the past. I really don't mind. You got to remember, my mission wasn't to sit here and grab numbers of followers. At the end of the day, it's great and it helps with business, but it's not fulfilling. It's not satisfying. I don't look at the numbers and think, oh yes, 3 more friends. I'm a bit of a cynic. Sometimes I think 3 more spies. But that was never my intention, my goal. And I've always got to stick true to my mission, my why. If I lose my why, I'm going to lose it all. So my why has always been to inspire you guys and to encourage you and to nurture your creativity. I want to pull it out from you. I want to, like Indiana Jones, just like mine it out of you and then just give it to the world. I want to empower you to teach others how to grab their creativity and have this chain reaction, this pay it forward culture where we're just magnetic, creative, light-filled people that are just, impacting people's lives in any way that we can, that pulls them out of a bad place, that makes them feel more included, more loved, more respected, more heard, more validated, more valued. These are the things that we have the power to do, and I find that through creativity, I have a platform to be able to do that. So with a platform comes responsibilities, and I also have a responsibility to address things like this and to let you guys know where I stand. So my personal feelings are what they are, and hopefully I've clarified with you that, I struggle sometimes. I do struggle to keep my lips closed until I'm ready to say what I'm ready to say. A lot of me just wants to be the James I used to know and fight, but that's not productive. And what I think is productive is getting a full 360 view of what's going on here, and hopefully just clarify my intentions. I want to share Disneyland with people that will never get a chance to go, or that love it so much but won't get to come back for years at a time. I want to share my life story with you guys. I want to share my passions and my devotions and my family. I want to share that stuff with you because that's a part of why I journal. It's a part of what I end up journaling. When I'm telling you stories about my gran, it would really fall flat if you didn't know why gran was important. Do you know what I mean? So it's the reason that I keep my life open to you, and I'll agree, like there are points where things could come across a certain way, and I hope that doesn't happen often for you guys. I hope that I don't need to know if it does. Please contact me personally. Please don't put it down in the comments. But I hope that what you see is someone that's just trying to be open and sharing with you in an effort to bring you joy. There's nothing else I want to bring you. I don't want to. If I wanted to bring you pain, I wouldn't be sharing the stories that I share. If I wanted to, and here's the thing. Here's some real truth. I'll just spill this tea. If you don't want to follow, if you want to unfollow, if you want to unsubscribe, I'm not going to harbor resentment for you. I'm not going to feel guilty for myself. I'm not going to throw myself a pity party or a sympathy soiree. I'm not going to come and attack you in the message comments. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to let you go in peace. I'm going to let you go in love, and you are more than welcome to come back should you ever want to. Like, I put this stuff out there, and it's not for anyone in particular. That's why I keep it open. That's why I keep it public. You don't have to be a fan of me to experience some of these lessons. You don't have to like who I am as a person to learn how to draw a swatch doll. There is nothing that I'm trying to take from you. So I just encourage you to do whatever makes you feel good. If you need to unfollow, if you need to just not click on the Insta story as an option as well, or if you click on it, just swipe to the right if you don't want to see it. There's also a block list. If you want to be put on a story block list so that you don't even know I'm making Insta stories, I know that they exist. I can put you on one of those. I currently have 0 people on that. So if you want to be the first one, we could start a trend, but hopefully you see that, Instagram for me, Insta stories is the most direct line of communication for me as someone that wants to reach you as a friend and as a person, a real human being, but also as a brand and a business. It's kind of invaluable for me. So I need to keep the Insta stories. Unfortunately, they won't go away. But please don't feel obligated to watch them. And if I have really exhausted you, if I have taken you to a point where you feel like it's no longer necessary to follow or subscribe, I'm not gonna feel upset about that. I'm not going to hate you for that. You are more than welcome to do that. We live in a free country, in a free world. I think most of us. I seriously, again, I'm sorry if that's not your case. But I'm just assuming that because a lot of my demographic is from Australia and the United States and the United Kingdom and Canada, I feel like these are places where you're totally free to do what you want. So I just encourage you to do what makes you happy. Again, if you're going to leave comments and they might be a little inflammatory with the wording, I'd encourage you to reword it or to just go directly to the source to have your voice heard. I guess all I can say is that at the end of the day, I saw a comment, I saw red, and I wanted to attack it, to give myself power over what I thought I was being attacked for. And then when I sat down and really thought about it, I found common ground. I found an agreement with that comment, and I found something that was pretty constructive, and I thought it was more beneficial for us to have a conversation today, a dialogue where, we're, I guess, a monologue, but, you're more than welcome to respond in the comments, a dialogue where we could just say, not everything is vicious. It's so tempting to think that. I think it's our first response as human beings in that fight or flight response mode to just, you see red, you just go off. And if you're one of those people today, if you're facing that kind of a problem, if you face that kind of a problem in general, or if that's something that happens to you, hopefully this might help you in some sort of way. If this is just a video where none of it resonates with you, hopefully I've just given you a better understanding as to why I do what I do. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to hope that you have a great day and that you're really enjoying yourself on this Friday afternoon. And I'm so excited for the weekend. You know what I'm like, happy people on the weekend. Alrighty, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.